We hope you enjoy listening to this podcast of St. Louis on the Air, brought to you by University College at Washington University. With undergraduate and graduate programs, part-time, evening, and online. University College at Washington University, offering world-class education within reach.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Don Marsh. The sport of roller derby has been around for decades. It's now experiencing something of a resurgence, that is, and St. Louis has 3 all-female teams and an all-star team that's considered one of the best in the world. In fact, it's scheduled to compete for the World Championships in Spain in about a month or so. The arch-rival roller derby all-stars are seeded number 1 in that tourney, but team members need a little help to get there. Joining me in studio are co-captain Sarah Arnosky, a.k.a. Bricktator, and co-captain Brooke Clark, also known as Vicious Van Gogo. Okay, I have to start there. What's for the nicknames? I'll start with you, Brooke.
Well, every skater gets to choose a name that sort of has a little bit of personality, whether it be something that is personal to them or just something that just kind of is catchy and fun, just sort of a little persona to go by when you're skating.
So Vincent Van Gogh is a hero of yours?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite artists.
Look, how about you?
Sure.
Sarah?
So when I was in college, I actually played soccer, and my first day of tryouts, I knocked over what would be my teammate, and they called me Brickhouse from then on out. And when I transferred into the sport of roller derby, it was the thing where I wanted to be Brickhouse, but there was actually a big long list of names that were already taken, and that was one of them. And so I had to kind of do a spin off of that, and so it became Bricktator.
Is roller derby really a sport?
Absolutely. We get people, again, when they think about roller derby, a lot of times you think about the 1970s over-the-top acting and these theatrics, but really the way it is today is it's very much a sport. We work hard on the track, off the track, training to make sure that we are in peak physical condition and also really intentional in the strategy that we're developing.
Brooke, not everybody is familiar with this sport. Can you give me a quick overview? What is going on?
Well, the easiest thing that I can say when I'm talking about an overview would be that there are 5 skaters from each team on the track at a time, and the objective is to get your jammer, the person who's scoring the points, through the pack as many times as possible. So there's a lot of offense and defense strategy. And the team at the end of these little segments within a game, however many points they score wins the game. And they score points by passing their opponent's hips.
Yeah. So there's no ball. It's kind of a combination of hockey, football, and speed skating, all kind of blended into one.
You're going around in a circle, a pretty broad circle.
Yes, on an oval track.
An oval track, yeah. But it's a flat track. When I was growing up, a long time ago, roller derby was very big in the 50s in the Northeast. It helped television survive because they were showing roller derby all the time. But it was a slanted track. It was not flat.
Right. So we play on the flat track surface, which, on the bank track, you've got a lot of momentum carrying you around. So that's where that physical aspect for flat track comes in, why we work so hard to stay at peak condition, because it's a lot of effort to get around a flat track and a very physical game in that regard.
Very physical. That's what I remember about it, Sarah, that it was very physical. You take your lumps.
Yes, there's definitely times where you have scratches or bruises that you remember getting, and then there are the ones you don't remember getting that show up a day or two later. But definitely, we're wearing mouth guard, helmets, elbow pads, wrist pads, knee pads, so that we really are protecting ourselves, but we also are very much in body contact.
And where are you skating?
We practice down at a venue called the St. Louis Stadium. It's actually down in the Carondelet neighborhood in St. Louis. But if people wanted to come watch us here locally, we play out at Queenie Park in Ballwin.
And did I have it right in saying that there are 3 teams here in the introduction?
Yeah, we do have 3 home teams currently, and then we also have 3 travel teams. But the Arch Rival All-Stars are the competitive team that plays internationally to represent St. Louis.
With the 3 teams that are here, the home team, if you will, are you just skating against each other, or do you play teams from other places?
We play against each other. So it's kind of nice because during what we call local season, where we play against each other, it's that the teams are mixed talent levels so that we can play with people that are just starting, people that have been playing for 6-10 years. So we develop together as a league. And then when we transfer into travel season, that's when we get divided up by skill level.
Now, tell me about, Brooke, about the All-Stars. These are the best players from these three teams, I gather.
Correct. We have a tryout, and we gather the best players from the league to represent St. Louis. So the All-Stars practice together, work hard together, and we compete. We compete across the state, and now we get an opportunity to compete internationally. So Sarah and I were talking prior to coming in here and about the cumulative amount of states that we've skated in, just the two of us, and we came up with, 28?
28 states we have competed in together.
Again, I want to be clear on this. You're skating in other parts of the state against the people you're skating against here.
We are skating together with the skaters here in St. Louis and competing against other skaters in various states.
So other teams from other states.
Right. Yeah.
I was really surprised to see in this international competition, Sarah, how many countries and representation, what the representation is like. A lot of them.
Absolutely. So at our tournament alone, we have teams from the states, from LA, from Philadelphia, but you also have teams from Helsinki, Malmo, Sweden, down in Argentina. They're bringing together a team. So it's a very much a growing international sport.
Played the same way in other countries as you play here?
Yes, we all fall in what's called the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. So as the WFTDA, there's a set rule set that everyone has to follow.
Brooke, how is this going to be established? Am I right in having seen 400 teams?
We are number 5 in the 400 teams that represent the organization of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. So not all 400 teams get to play at playoffs or at champs. Mm-hmm. So they take the top 20 of those teams to compete in playoffs and in champs. The structure this year has shifted a little bit, but we are the top seed going into playoffs. So.
How is it going to be conducted? We're talking the end of August to early September. It's not a very long tournament, but a lot of teams.
Yeah, so it's a bracket structure, a 12-team bracket structure going through Friday, Saturday, and the final game will be on Sunday. So we see ourselves in that final game.
Well, I certainly hope so. Bring home the gold.
That's right.
For St. Louis. How many teams, Sarah, will be competing during this 3-day period?
Sure. So there's 2 different playoffs. So there's a 12-team playoff in Spain, and then a 12-team playoff actually in Atlanta. Yeah. And we drew the short or long straw, depending on your viewpoint on going to Spain. And then the top 3 teams from those 2 playoff tournaments actually then go to the championship. So we are working our way towards the championship tournament.
Okay, well, now we get to the crux of the matter here. How many people will be involved in this trip?
We have 20 people traveling from St. Louis to A Coruña, Spain.
It's expensive.
It is expensive.
Okay, what are you doing about raising money?
So we have a couple of different ways people can get involved in our fundraising effort. We have... Well, outside of it, we have boot camps that we're hosting for local leagues. But for those of you that do not play roller derby, we are actually launching what is called the Saint Who Is, the Great Spain Rename, so that people can actually rename our team name for this tournament specifically, just kind of get people involved in a little kind of fun way. So right now we have some names going. We have some non-St. Louis names, so we have a good relationship with the team out of Minnesota. So they're trying to make it our tribal Minnesota Roller Girls, but being in Missouri, we can't mislead people. So
right.
we're trying to throw out some other ideas that maybe really capture the essence of St. Louis. So something like the Gooey Butter Skates or the Toasted Rav Rollers, or just some ideas to get your juices flowing.
Those have not been chosen yet, so anyone can donate and choose those names.
How are you reaching out to people to try to raise some of these dollars?
Well, we do have on our website, archrivalrollerderby.com, a link to show you the various ways that you can donate. We've reached out to various organizations through sponsorship letters to try and get people to come in and be involved in that way. And then the rename and shirt ideas. So we're trying to reach as broad of an audience as we can to see every little bit helps.
We'll put a link to your website on our website, stlpublicradio.org. Sarah, how much do you need to raise?
So our cost estimate for the entire team to go is about $50,000. Any amount that will help get us close to that would be very, very appreciated. This is a skater-owned and operated entity, and so it can be cost prohibitive. So we really are grateful for anyone that's helping us to get there.
And if you don't raise $50,000, I would assume that the rest of the expense will be borne personally. Is that it?
Correct.
Yes.
Right. Well, good luck on that. We'll put that link on our website. But let's talk a little bit more about roller derby. And are there any men's roller derby teams?
There are actually. St. Louis is the proud, owner, claimer, can brag about having the number one men's team here, the St. Louis Gatekeepers. And we're proud to be a sister league with them and have the opportunity to skate with them and encourage them as they do the same thing, participate in playoffs and champs and things.
Well, Sarah, why do you think that it's not so well known? I mean, we've known that you've been around, but you don't hear much talk about it. I'm sure that's frustrating for you.
It's true. So specifically our tribal roller derby has been around since 2005.
Yeah.
And we are now up to almost 100 members in our league, which is great. And I think there's an element of roller derby that's like meant to be underground. So trying to really lean into that, but also really get our name out there kind of has this interesting tension.
So the tension, yes. What about crowds? Do you draw decent crowds when you skate?
We do. So our local games, we get anywhere from 300 to 600 people. Particularly our theme nights are great. So we hosted a Girl Scout night where they had troops from all over the area come in. And so all these young girls that are coming and they want to get our autographs afterwards. And then we actually have now since started a St. Louis Junior Derby League. So that's for ages 7 to 17. So getting tapped into the youth has been a big part of our mission too.
Brooke, would you call yourselves professional roller derby skaters? I mean, is there money involved? Do you charge admission and that sort of thing?
It feels like we are professionals in the way and the dedication that we put into the sport, but it's still considered an amateur sport at this point. I think that Sarah spoke on the sort of DIY aspect of it and how it is skater owned and operated. So the idea of having just a big corporation sponsoring us or things like that, it goes a little bit against. But so I guess that's why it's not as well known and at the top of sports rankings and everything like that. But
Sarah, what would winning the championship mean to you guys and to St. Louis?
Yeah. So the last 5 years or so, the team out of St. Louis has continued to climb in the rankings. And so we are at the highest we've ever been. And I said this at another point. I was like, and we're not done. Mm-hmm. And so really wanting to have that gold medal around our neck would be more than anything we could dream of right now. And continuing that momentum and the payoff of all of the work we've put in.
Well, a lot of work obviously has been done, but to what else would you attribute the success you've had in being, fifth in the world or something? Is that what it is?
It is, yeah.
Fifth in the world. Hard work plus what?
I would feel like I would be missing out if I didn't compliment our coaches.
Yes.
We really do have some of the best coaches in the sport. They are dedicated to us in ways that we don't always understand, the way that they're looking at footage, the way that they are kind of there for individual skaters, and really pushing us to be there for each other and to be the best.
And Brooke, what's to learn? What can a coach teach you?
I think Sarah hit on it as far as them watching footage and having a knowledge of the game. They bring different strategies and things that we're not always thinking about when we're on the track. They'll see something that we're doing or something the other team is doing, and they can guide us and focus us in that direction. And just being a great sounding board and encourager, we are very fortunate to have some incredible coaching staff.
Are they former roller derbyists?
We have a derby player. We have a former official. We have a former skater helping with us right now as well. So they all have a great knowledge base of the game. So we're very fortunate.
How much do you have left to raise, Sarah?
We have probably about $20,000 left to raise. Really? Is what we're
we're
getting there.
Well so far.
Yes.
Hopefully this will help out a little bit.
Yes.
Well, good luck to you as you move on and compete. It's going to be fun to watch what you guys do and come back with the gold.
That's the plan.
Thank you.
We need a championship team here in St. Louis.
Yeah,
We'll do it.
We'll be proud to own that crown.
Thank the co-captains Sarah Arnosky and co-captain Brooke Clark. Thank you so much. I should say Bricktator and what is the other one? Vicious Van Gogo. Thanks so much, guys. Good luck to you. Archived versions of past St. Louis On the Air programs available for download or podcast at stlpublicradio.org/STLOnAir. St. Louis On the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening. I'm Don Marsh.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.